Welcome back to the ICU, where inner consciousness is unraveled and the intentionally competent you emerges from the noise, the numbness, and the nationalist nostalgia. Here in the ICU, we don't rant, we reframe. Let me say this up front again. I did not volunteer for this role. I'm not here as a pundit or prophet. I'm here, still seated, reluctantly though, across from Uncle Donald and across from the national and global psyche that made his return not just possible, but popular. And this, what we are doing here, it's not armchair therapy. It's critical analysis of the inner architecture that makes figures like him not only electable, but desirable. This is real-time soul triage. Not for him, but for us. Today's episode is titled The Lie Called Strength, Decoding the Myth of the Strongman. This episode blends psychological framing, spiritual discernment, and socio-political clarity while equipping us with tools to reclaim a truer form of strength. Let's begin. The Strongman template. Loud, cruel, fatherless. Does that remind you of anybody? Because we go back historically, you look at from Mussolini to Bolsonaro, from Netanyahu to Modi, from Putin to Trump. The names shift, but the playbook doesn't. The strongman template is predictable. Loud dominance, rigid masculinity, weaponized certainty, emotional suppression, paraded as strength. These men are not leaders. They are symbols of a deeper wound, society's unresolved craving for control in a chaotic world. They rise when the world is afraid. They shine when truth is fragile. They appeal to the parts of us that would rather feel powerful than be whole. And they thrive because too many of us are still unfathered, still emotionally unattuned, still performing strength to hide the ache that we feel deep inside. So I ask this question. Why do we keep falling for it? Let's get underneath this for a second. If you've ever been drawn to a strong man, right? If his tone reassured you, if his control gave you a sense of certainty, if his anger felt oddly familiar, you're not shallow. You're not foolish. You're likely remembering something you survived. You are acting out an inherited survival pattern. We have been collectively taught that rage equals power. Stoicism equals virtue. Loudness equals leadership. Do they though? Do they really? Think about it. And in moments of societal chaos, during wars, pandemics, economic collapse, identity fear, The body doesn't ask, is this true? What the body reverts to is what? Familiarity. Is this familiar? And to many, Uncle Donald is familiar. Not just to the far right, but to every nervous system that learned to worship control because connection was never safe. So let's unpack the Trump performance. Alpha as an armor. Let's bring it back to the man seated across from me again. Uncle Donald. Donald J. Trump's strength was never grounded. It's always been postured. His alpha male persona is textbook ego compensation. Bragging in place of reflection. Blame instead of ownership. Projection instead of repair. The inauguration wasn't a transfer of power. It was a trauma reenactment in front of the whole world. Every handshake, every insult, every chant wasn't part of the same script. It's always about this, coming from this place. If I appear dominant, I must be safe. If I speak loudly enough, I must be right. And you say that long enough, you start believing it. But we all know from therapy, from soul work, from embodied wisdom, true strength doesn't need a stage. True leadership never performs safety at the cost of another's dignity. So what do? How do we bring ourselves back? And in the ICU, we always recommend inner authority as your go-to. So we need to tap into that inner strength and counter that outer dominance. So let's begin to reframe. Let's distinguish real strength from the national lie. Real strength is self-regulation, not dominance. Real strength is boundaries, not brutality. Real strength is accountability, not arrogance. So ask yourself this. Who first taught me that dominance equals protection? Those the father figures in your life? Or those who have terrorized you from your childhood? What parts of me are still seduced by certainty, even when it lacks substance? How often do I confuse loudness with conviction? And I ask you this. Is your strength modeled as emotional detachment or control? When you task now, is it to repair the definition or to repeat the dysfunction? Here in the ICU, we have a practice. And for this episode, the specific target for this practice is this. Let's dismantle that inner strongman. So this week's soul assignment is a guided truth reclamation, a strength autopsy. What did strength mean in your childhood home? Who had the power? How was softness treated? Where did fear masquerade as leadership? Let's start reauthoring this and redefining this. We start filling in the blanks. My strength is not in how you can fill those blanks. My strength is in how I fill the blanks. So let me give you an example. My strength is not in how I control the room, but in how I listen without rather defend. And when you feel that urge to perform authority, pause for a second and ask yourself this. Am I protecting myself or performing what I was taught? Is this strength or is it spectacle? This is not about perfection. There's no such thing. This is about presence. So let me end this episode by talking to you about certain things, clarifying some points, and then just centering us back, making us present. The lie called strength is extremely loud right now, and it's global. But our healing is not in resisting the man, it's in reframing the myth. We don't just need stronger policies. We need stronger inner cores. We need leaders who cry, fathers who stay, citizens who can say, I was wrong without crumbling. Thank you for joining me during this episode. Next week on ICU, we'll tackle the fatherless nation, why we confuse control with love. And if you guys remember, this was the first episode we released on Father's Day and Holy Trinity Sunday. But we'll bring this back with a different context. Until then, remember to always carry what serves you, release what doesn't, and keep walking forward with your ancestors at your back and your inner compass ahead of you as your guide. Until then, may you diagnose wisely, resist kindly, and reimagine boldly. And please always subscribe, engage, share with us. But remember to breathe. And as always, send love to your nervous system. I see you.